Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Ukatsu something cast that goes on video, and I don't know what it's called anymore. It's not quite a podcast. Is it a vodcast? Is it a video podcast? Is it a vlog? No, it's not a vlog. So anyway, that is a long rambling introduction to say that Sammons, Liv, and Jeffrey are here with me today. I am, of course, Tom, the host, and here we go. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
What have you guys been playing this week?
League of Legends.
Lots of it?
Lots and lots of League of Legends.
Have you placed yet?
I have. I've gotten into Platinum with my duo partner Teddy, Coach Teddy. Some of you guys know him. And personally, I've been trying to branch out of my supports and branch around. It's been all over the place. Lots of successes, lots of massive failures. So it's fun.
All right. Very cool.
I have been watching Teddy because he's my husband play League of Legends, but I haven't really been playing much. I've been planning and packing and doing laundry.
Now, you have a big trip coming up.
Yeah, me and Teddy about to go on a road trip for 2 weeks.
That's
So,
exciting.
How many hours? How long was the road trip?
so he does not like the amount of driving. I decided that we were gonna, or we figured out we were gonna drive about 16 and a half hours without stops. We'll have to stop, but that's what Google Maps says just to get to Arches in one day. So we're gonna leave at 5 a.m. Saturday.
That's a long
So
time.
by the time you hear this podcast, we'll be well on our way through the
All
road
right,
trip.
then. Wow.
Yeah.
Jeffrey?
I've been playing pretty much League. I think I'm starting to get back into jungle, getting away from AD. I don't do the greatest at AD.
Okay, I have a question, and it is ignorant. I've asked it before, and nobody has ever answered me.
Okay.
What does AD carry mean?
Attack, damage, carry. So,
Okay.
there are multiple types of damage in the game, and attack damage carries are ones where their primary source of damage is attack damage.
So it's the DPS character.
Yes.
Yeah.
The best role in the game.
Ben says they're the best role in the game. So it's the ones that click on people.
They're the ones that,
Yeah.
if you cannot right-click, they are very hard to play.
Right.
So,
Are they
Okay.
primarily in the bot lane?
Yes.
they are primarily
Uh-huh.
found in the
See,
bot
I'm
lane.
learning.
And they're primarily supported by the support character.
Right.
Yes, because they are usually
Squishier.
squishier
The
than
glass
everybody else.
cannon roll.
Yes.
Yep.
Great. And so you're not doing that anymore, and you're going back to jungler?
Yes. It fits my playstyle more. The patches have been leaning towards my playstyle more, so I'm going back to that.
So in your jungler, what do you like to see? Do you like to see a lot of mobility?
Mobility is nice. I mostly I play a bruiser tank, just so I can frontline and make sure people get kills, and that kind of thing.
Nice.
And then that's pretty much it. I've been watching a lot of Game of Thrones. At least I did until I got caught up.
Nice.
And then season 4 of Lucifer just came out, so I've been watching that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So Game of Thrones on HBO and Lucifer on Netflix.
Yep.
You would suggest those shows to
Yes.
people that have the available means to watch them?
If you are old enough for Game of Thrones, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Lucifer, though, it's a good show.
Okay.
My counter offer is Street Foods, which is also found on
Netflix.
and that is a very
That one you don't have to be a certain age to watch.
yes.
You just have to watch old people who have suffered their entire lives make delicious looking food.
Yes, it makes you very hungry. That's just a food show.
Yeah. Well, I've been playing, surprise, surprise, Borderlands. I've been mixing it up between Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel. And I've beaten Borderlands 2 for the first time through on Salvador. Started True Vault
Ooh.
Hunter mode. You could take a lot more damage in True Vault Hunter mode, it turns out. So that's been a little more challenging than the base game.
Sure.
So I'm excited to try out the OP levels after Ultimate Vault Hunter mode when I get there. But Ukatsu news, Hickman Gold, was it?
Yes.
Hickman
Yeah,
Gold
it was
has
Hickman Gold.
reigned supreme, won the final of the esports championship.
Yep,
Yeah,
over
yeah.
Rockbridge Green.
That
Very
was
high.
held on
Green.
the 7th
3-0.
As a 3-0 sweep, Rockbridge gave a great performance several times, but just couldn't help but get steamrolled a little bit.
Hickman played at the top of their performance, and
They did.
They played very, very well.
Now, Liv, you probably have a unique perspective, being that your husband, Teddy, as already mentioned, is the Rockbridge coach. Do you think that he thinks that Joe cheated?
No. No, he said that all of his players did a good job, but Hickman was just performing really, really well that night.
They did perform really well.
But it was a good 3 games. I was sad it didn't go to 5.
I think you're the only one. I don't know.
I wish it went to 5.
It was a joke.
Oh.
Just from the people that have to work at those events rather than watch
Sure,
those
yeah.
events, 3 games is more ideal. And also, the school doesn't get mad at you for being there like 3 hours past when you said you were going to be gone.
Well, ever since going to
boy.
the LCS spring finals and us seeing like a reverse sweep, now I just have so much of an appreciation for 5 games.
Sure.
And so I'm just like, I want to see that again. But like Ukatsu.
The amount of mental fortitude required for a reverse sweep is
Absurd.
absurd. It is very, very difficult.
I mean,
You know, my
yeah.
my thing with that is always when I'm like getting there, like I'm like 3/4 of the way to the reverse sweep, then I'm like, this might actually happen. Oh, I lost.
Yeah, because in my opinion, it's one of the hardest sports to do it in, because in other sports like soccer or football, like, yes, you can be down points, but it's not like you've actually lost.
Right.
Like in League of Legends, when you're doing a best of 5s, like, you've already lost twice. So
Every game is the first game.
Yep,
It's a
you-
mental
that's
head
right.
game.
I think, honestly, if Doublelift wasn't on Team Liquid, just like another player of his caliber, though, they would have lost. Because he was a huge contributing factor to their mental state.
It was, yeah, keeping stable is very hard.
Oh man. Well, that has wrapped up a huge chunk of time for what Ukatsu has been up to for the last, semester of school, basically. So the next big thing we have to look forward to is summer camps, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
I know we've been pitching them a lot, but they are good fun and a great way to improve your League of Legends skills or Overwatch skills, or come and have fun with the tabletop gaming one.
And Fortnite.
Yeah,
The first one's YouTube. It's literally about a month away from starting. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's coming up quick.
June 10th.
Learning how to make
YouTube
good
camp.
videos is very good. It's a very nice
Premiere,
skill.
Adobe Premiere, and Adobe Photoshop are really good skills to have on your resume.
I
That
agree.
is
They are
correct.
always rewarding. You will never be in a situation where someone goes, "Oh, you learned that? That was a waste of time." Never.
No.
That will never, ever, ever happen.
No. I'm certified in Illustrator, and I have a lot of experience on Photoshop and Premiere. So.
There you go. YouTube camp coming up. Anyway, speaking of YouTube, you guys should keep your eyes glued to our YouTube channel because there is more content coming your way hard and fast. Like I said, a big chunk of our time just got freed up. So I know several of us have little pet projects we're going to start recording and throw up on that YouTube space.
That's
Pumping
right.
out like at least 3 videos a week. So
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
getting spicy on the YouTube channel.
Oh yeah.
Spicy.
Keep an eye
Spicy.
on it.
Spicy.
Is it spicy ranch spicy, or is it just?
It's Chipotle Ranch spicy.
Chipotle ranch spicy. Okay, is there adobo sauce or no adobo sauce?
No adobo sauce.
That's not as spicy.
No adobo sauce.
No adobo sauce, chipotle.
It's hotter than
ranch.
spicy ranch, but it's chipotle without
is.
adobo sauce.
Chipotle Ranch.
I mean, that's
It's
just
getting
adding
up
a,
there.
a nice smoky flavor to it. It's
All right.
beautiful.
So keep your eye on
Anyway,
Yeah.
that. Can you guys tell that we haven't eaten lunch yet?
I ate.
Yes, Jeffrey
Yeah,
did
Jeffrey
eat,
did.
and it made everything worse.
Jeffrey
oh.
with 1 F. Salmon.
2 F's. I'm sorry, Jeffrey. I have consistently misspelled Jeffrey's name, and it's I feel so bad.
But yeah, no, we got podcasts, we got let's plays, we got game sessions, we got some vlogs every once in a while.
Yeah.
We're coming out with things.
Hopefully, if I can read my calendar this time, around the time that this is coming out, we should be recording our first episode of Let's Play of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh.
Watch as Nick and I stumble our way through the lore that makes no sense to anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, considering every character is based on every other character and they all look the same.
I mean, it's still Sora though, right?
This one is Sora.
Okay.
But there's like shadows of him from other games that like Roxas and
What?
like it's very
So
complicated.
it's a roller coaster of a story.
It's going to be very confusing.
Maybe I should start playing it as well.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so that should be a good time.
I feel like that's one of
And-
those stories you just kind of keep in a box and it's like self-contained because whenever you open it, it just goes everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll play a lot more PS4 this summer now that school's done.
There you go. School's out. Great song, Alice Cooper. Is it Alice Cooper? No, it's not Alice Cooper.
I would not know. I'm not good at keeping track of who made what song.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that was a mistake. Oh well. But your school's finished, but high school's still going on. But we've had the finals for our esports teams. The last time that some of these kids are going to have the opportunity to play high school esports because they're graduating, and
Yeah.
that, my friends, is this week's best worst thing. Graduation. The transition from one chunk of life into another.
Definitely the best worst thing.
Jeffrey, you're the one that's most recently graduated from something. Why don't
I
you give
am.
your take on it?
So, it was a lot of fun to play in the first season of the Esports League. And then I got to participate in a choir at graduation. And it was a lot of fun. But at the same time, it's like, okay, now what? I get to do college.
It doesn't really hit you until you start
Yeah,
doing
no.
whatever the next thing is.
It hit me as soon as marching Mizzou started. It was a week before our actual Mizzou campus was open, and definitely I'm like, oh, I'm starting this now. Great.
What about you, Liv? What do you feel about the graduation?
It's fantastic in that there's no homework, which honestly, it was just like, it's like a constant stress because especially with computer science, it was, you got done with a project, but now you have another project and there's just always going to be more projects and this never ended. So
Welcome to adulthood.
it's wonderful that you don't have to do homework anymore, but you also can't depend on just having college and all of the things that come with college to like do nothing. Like you have to start doing something with your life or making moves or doing something after you graduate. And so college is a great way to push off doing life. It's like a little intermediate stage.
Yeah.
Sammons, do you have any feelings about this?
I want to say homework just becomes more and more serious as you go on because it goes from high school where it's like, I can do this in like the hour before it's due. And then in college, it's like, I can do this 3 a.m. before it's due. And then life happens and it's like, technically I don't have any homework, but there is that bill that's coming and that needs to be paid. So you really need to pay that bill because there's no other option.
Yeah, my life is in a different place.
Yep, that's just how it goes. Life just kind of slowly escalates, and it doesn't really hit you all at once either. It's like, oh, this is okay, and then it ends, and you're like, wait, you're in this weird purgatory, and then it hits you like maybe a month after, and you're like, oh, I'm in a different stage of life.
I still live with my parents, and I will live with my parents through college.
Yeah.
So,
From what I remember, is one of the worst things about graduating is realizing that you're never going to see a lot of your friends again. The people that you associated with,
yeah.
there's a very
Yeah.
small chance you'll actually see them again.
Yeah, that's one of those things that isn't appreciated, I feel like, because when it comes, like, as you get older, as I am the oldest person at this table, I will give you guys some perspective. As you get older, you realize that a lot of your friendships were literally just based on how much time you spent around each other and not anything else. Like, my best friend was in, like, all of my classes in high school, and then he and I went to different colleges, and we don't talk ever anymore. Like, it was literally just a proximity relationship, and it, as your life expands outward and you, like, stop going to school and you start working and you have a family, well, when you're at work, you have work friends, but you never want to see them outside of work because they remind you of work. And then your kids have stuff to do, so then you start, like, seeing the same parents at stuff, and you're like, oh, we could talk to each other while we're here, but they're not really friends. Like, you're not going to call them unless it's to distract your kids. It's very strange. So, like, the whole friendship angle is terrible, but you feel accomplished. You feel like you've completed a thing. You did all the work. You reached the goal. And that's the good part about graduation. You know, you're getting older and you're more skilled than you've ever been. And then, you know, everybody scatters to the wind. And when you see those people again, they've had different experiences than you. And you realize that maybe you don't have as much in common as you always thought you did, just because you both were in German class, or you're both, you know, played baseball or esports or something.
That is one of the weirdest things, is whenever you remember an old friend and you have this visual image and just memories of how they are, and then you re-encounter them maybe a year or two later, and you look at them and they are completely different. They're not similar at all to the memory that you have of them. They're like a completely different person.
Yeah.
Yep.
My high school girlfriend was a jockey softball player, and now she is, like, neck down, covered in tattoos, piercings everywhere, and married to a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a lot different than she was in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, one thing I do know is, like, as you get older, you have to be a lot more intentional with your friendships and
Yes.
stay in touch. Because I know a lot of my best friends are one's in Atlanta and one's in St. Louis, and you have to constantly be like, let's make sure we talk to each other and keep up with each other, because it's really easy to just kind of let things wane, and then you don't have friendships as closely as you did before.
That's right. I think the best thing that my friend group did was right at, like, during graduation, I want to say, they made a group chat, and we called it, like, Amazing Weirdos. And it's like, I think the picture on it is like, I'm trying to remember the quote, but it's like, good friends are ones that just, like, come and go. Best friends are ones that stick on your face like an octopus.
That is weird.
And that's why it's called Amazing Weirdos. But we've had this chat for several years now, and it's kind of like how we keep up to date with each other. Like, randomly you'll see, like, one person being like, oh, by the way, I'm pregnant, or someone being like, hey, I'm getting engaged. And it's
I'm
like,
in St. Louis. I'm in Columbia. Who wants to hang out?
it's like a mini Facebook. It's a much more, like, personal thing than Facebook. So
You know what? The next week, the best worst thing is going to be group chat, except for it's going to be the worst thing. Because group chat's awful.
Group chat is awful.
But alas, you'll have to wait for next week. But coming up next, we're going to talk the much requested Fortnite. So we're gonna bring our local Fortnite expert onto the show right now.
Yeah,
Here's
get out of here,
Joe. Jeffrey said, and I quote, "I have nothing to say about Fortnite."
Of course he doesn't. He doesn't play Fortnite like I do, like all of us do here at Ukatsu. Every single one of us grinding it out every day.
Yes.
No, thanks.
Totally
Pleasure to be on here.
grinding it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So Fortnite Season 9.
It's been going for
Dropped
a couple.
last night.
Oh, wait. It's a new season now? I thought that dropped like 2 weeks ago.
No, Season 8 has been around for a while.
Ooh.
There
That was like
was-
the whole volcano and pirates and lava.
There was a
And
live event a couple weeks ago.
Yes, there was a live event that actually happened at our birthday party, one of our birthday parties. It was super cool for the kids to log in into a unique instance where all of a sudden the map opened up, the vault opened up, and they could vote on what they wanted unvaulted. They voted for the drum gun, and then afterwards everyone was teleported back, and then the volcano that had been just kind of
Hanging
fizzling the whole season long, it finally erupted. Actually, it didn't just erupt. I found out that it exploded. You know how like a volcano stays a volcano after it erupts?
Sometimes.
This one was completely blown off the hatch, It knocked down Retail Row, parts of it, as well as Tilted Towers, completely decimated it. And so in the lore of things, if you watch the trailer, is that started an apocalypse
Okay.
kind of thing. And in the trailer, there's the default skin and Peely, which is the banana suit, which I found out is not a suit. It is a banana man.
It's a banana man.
Hybrid banana man. They get locked in a bunker. There's this cute montage where they're having fun, and then they all of a sudden find out that there's no more food left. And so
They eat Peely?
they
Or
eat.
Peely eats the normal guy?
Well,
Oh my gosh.
defaulty skin eats Peely, and
Oh my
it's been
gosh.
several years afterwards, and the hatch that they had kind of sealed themselves in opens up, and there's futuristic people, as well as Tilted Tower has been rebuilt.
It's all
There's-
neon and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's all very 2077
Okay.
in the way, which is kind of cool. I like the aesthetic a lot.
This sounds like my season.
It's a
I'm
pretty cool
ready.
season with the story changes, and we'll have to see what happens with the gameplay changes, because oh my gosh.
So it's a new season. What did they vault, and what did they bring out of the vault?
Well, one thing was unvaulted, which was the drum gun in Season 8, and then a poop ton of things were vaulted, including clingers. Grenades were unvaulted, but the big thing, you got traps. The poison traps are vaulted, balloons, stuff, all the stuff that you don't want to open up in a chest because you're trying to win the game. But the really crazy one, and I was grinding it out last night to hit tier 100. I finally went to bed at 3 a.m. and I was like, I can't resist. I have to look at these patch notes now instead of waiting for a reaction video. And the pump shotguns all across the board,
The staple.
vaulted. Exactly. And it is just like, as you said, Tom, is a staple. At least I see it as a staple of Fortnite, where you get one pumped, or you get pump tacked, or you get pump SMGs. A pump has always been a part of everyone's inventory, and they removed it and they replaced it with a combat shotgun. It's kind of like a skinny tack shotgun. It doesn't do as much damage.
Would you call it a combination, like a middle ground between the pump and the tack?
Yeah, one of our kids, Cole, I was playing with him because he was quote unquote sick today. He said it was like if the tack and the pump had a baby, and you have the combat shotgun. And so that's,
The combat shot.
everyone's up in arms. They're like, what is this? Some people are like, maybe this is the way we should be going. And then other people are like, well, now we're in this spray and pray meta. It's really shaking things up. After playing it so far, it feels fresh. The shotguns kind of feel weenie-like.
Okay.
But it's still the same game, from what I can tell.
Are all the vehicles still the
Yep.
plane and the cart and everything?
The plane has been vaulted since Season 8. So everything else, the hoverboard and the quad crasher, they're still there.
Cool.
But the new transportation system is... you ever watch Finding Nemo?
Yes.
And all the turtles are like, they jump into this jet stream, and then they start cruising. It's exactly that, but in the air, in the sky.
Oh,
They
that's
call it the
cool.
slipstream. And there's little circuits around major cities, as well as an overall big circuit around most of the map.
That's
do
really
you-
cool.
I like that.
Do you bring out your glider when you're on that, or
No,
can
you're
you
just
like
kind of
shoot?
you're just kind of skydiving through it.
Okay.
And then once you exit, then you can pull out your glider.
That's actually super
And,
cool.
so there's big changes in terms of movement and story and location, aesthetics.
So we all know that Fortnite's all about that story.
Yeah. I don't even think they know what they're doing with the story. It's just, what do we do now? There are a couple of cool skins. But we'll see. It's only been day one. We're going to see how this impacts the competitive play, as well as
So-
the novice play.
So if there's a bunch of filthy casuals out there, now's the time to jump in before
It
the meta.
really is. It really is.
That sounds like
The
my
drum
kind
gun
of-
has changed a lot of things.
I mean,
It's time, Sam.
The time
It's
the
always
time
the
it
new-
takes to kill somebody with a drum gun versus this new shotgun and attack is about the same, if not in favor of the drum gun.
Whoa.
So you just
Interesting.
spray. Like, you might not need a shotgun anymore, is what I'm thinking.
oh my
Oh.
gosh.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that.
I like
Shotguns
the
are
pump.
nice.
I really did.
There's a
I
lot
like
of
the
skill
pump,
that
too.
comes in with the pump, but this new shotgun is the reticle smaller, so you do have to be more precise.
Ooh.
So I do like that. And I think if they do a little bit of tweaking, or if I just get good, I don't know, maybe I need to consistently only land headshots, deal 150 damage, and then switch it out with something else. Sure. But that, yeah, season 9, it's here. We're gonna embrace it. We already recorded some reaction content for YouTube.
All right. It's exciting. We're gonna see where this takes us.
Yeah,
see what the next Fortnite tournament looks like
That's
here
right.
in Ukatsu.
Show up to the tournaments.
Oh,
I think this will enable a lot of people to get more kills. The whole traveling around. Also to get killed very quickly too. People are making rotations faster, and it's tough.
You
So-
think there might be a change to trying to like snipe people out of the air and stuff?
It's tough. You can't.
You don't think so?
what if you have one of those anti-air turrets?
No, those don't do anything. people actively take them out of their inventory. If they accidentally, what's this doing in here? They'll open up their inventory and drop it, so they don't.
So
Yeah.
they vault.
But yeah,
pump
that's
shotguns.
Fortnite in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. There you go, guys. There's
Should I
some.
skedaddle now.
You can stay, you can go. I don't care. You're the boss here. I guess that's him giving the old Irish goodbye. Oh
I'm
man.
gonna skedaddle. Doesn't say goodbye and just walks away.
Well, Randy Pitchford did dumb things.
What did he do?
Apparently, this is all hearsay from Twitter. I don't know much about it, but the previous actor who played Claptrap in the Borderlands games, right, that annoying robot, he is not coming back for Borderlands 3. And when asked about it on Twitter, he said basically something along the lines of, it wasn't money that it's not that they couldn't pay him enough, it's that Randy Pitchford physically assaulted him in a hotel, like beat him up in a hotel lobby or something at a conference once, and Randy never apologized for it. And then, so this has started this big backlash on Twitter, back and forth about, is Randy Pitchford a bad person, and blah 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 blah, and he's the head of Gearbox Software,
Yeah.
so, I mean...
I feel like every week that passes by, this game gets more everything associated with Borderlands gets more controversial.
There's even that conversation where they're taking out a derogatory term that they had, where in the previous Borderlands there's been these enemies called midgets, and now they're taking out that term in Borderlands 3 and they're renaming them tinks because it's a derogatory term.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I'm back now.
Hello, Jeffrey. Welcome back.
Yeah. Great to be back.
Yay.
No, I'm super excited for Borderlands 3. Today's the first day I've heard of the controversy.
Yeah, I read a little bit about it, but it talked about Twitter way too much, and
And
I
you're
can't
just like,
can't abide by Twitter.
yeah.
Makes no sense to me.
From what
It's
I
like
read into it,
Snapchat
it was
doesn't
like
make sense to
Pitchford
me.
was like, oh, well, Claptrap won't come back, and like he's being annoying and he's being himself, and then the Claptrap voice actor was like, actually, because you assaulted me in a hotel lobby, I'm not coming back, and you won't apologize for it. And it was this whole
Yeah.
Twitter explosion. So,
That's so unfortunate. He should just apologize.
yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
shids and
Because even though Claptrap is probably the most annoying thing on the face of the earth, it is important and good for Borderlands.
the voice is iconic. As soon as you hear
Right,
Claptrap,
yeah.
you're like, oh, Borderlands.
Yeah, it's Claptrap.
To be
yeah,
fair,
yeah.
though, during the gameplay reveal, there was a fair amount of Claptrap, and I
There
couldn't tell
was.
the difference between...
I couldn't
like,
either.
Well,
acti-
if you can't
ha-
tell the difference, then
Having been actively playing Borderlands for at least a couple weeks before the gameplay reveal, it did not strike me as completely un-Claptrap-like in voice.
as you are the top opinion and the most knowledgeable of Borderlands, and you couldn't tell the difference, then I think it doesn't.
I mean,
I couldn't tell the
This
difference either.
This all just sounds like a
It's a voice modulator or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
put it over it.
so...
People can sound like Morgan Freeman all the time.
that's a fun one.
What if Claptrap sounded like Morgan Freeman? I would let him talk
That'd
about
be an amazing-
dubstep all day.
That would be an amazing DLC where Claptrap gets a new voice modulator.
That's the next microtransaction. Change Claptrap's voice.
That's fun.
Oh man. Well, we'll see what comes of it and if it affects the release of Borderlands 3 in any way.
I hope not.
Hopefully not, since he's just the studio head and not like actively working on stuff, and I don't know. It's kind of a face guy, not really a down in the trenches programming stuff guy. So hopefully it won't affect the game at all.
If it's just simply voice acting, putting an audio into a video game would take them a day.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is like the guy already wasn't hired. Like, they already hired somebody to replace him.
Yeah.
He says he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So it's all just like people being like, "Oh my gosh,
It's
something happened. It's like a long time ago, and we can be outraged about it."
Pretty much. It's a fake problem. It's like, oh, we can have news about this. We can have discourse about it. We can get more social media.
Yeah.
We get free like marketing from this, so we're gonna do
Borderlands
it.
3.
Yay! I'm talking about it. So it worked.
Yep.
So anyway, topic of the week. You guys have all lived lives, right? You've made
Yep.
decisions. You've done different things.
Kind of.
Yeah. Would you change any of those things, looking back on your life right
Things
now?
that I could actually change.
Like,
What would you do differently?
would you go out for the school play instead of joining band, or would you,
Sure.
pick up Dota instead of League? I don't know.
I would.
Whoops.
I wish I wasn't as shy. I was more confident with myself. I'm still shy and not confident, but I wish I was, because I have never even held a girl's hand, and so
You want to hold my hand?
you're Tom. Sure.
This is nice.
This is nice.
Well,
But I think that'd be the main thing. Maybe study harder, just to please my parents more. But
there you go.
I got into the school I wanted to. It's
Can't
whatever.
complain about that.
I definitely would have gone to trade school instead of going to college.
What would your trade have been?
Probably either electrical engineering or some kind of mechanical engineering.
Well, all right then.
Yeah, just college is not for everybody. So.
That is true. That's a big thing. Like, ever since like World War II, there's always been a very much like, with the GI Bill, they're like, you can go to college if you serve in the military, and then it became like this cultural staple. You have to go to college, and I just don't think that.
Well,
They're paying people a ton to go to trades, like
What
like
I've heard actually is that
trade
there's now
jobs.
a shortage of trade school jobs.
Plumbers make a ton of money because
Yeah.
there's not a lot.
And because there's always this phrase of you have to go to college. You have to go to college. It's this
Yeah.
stigma of college is required to succeed in life when it's
I
not.
have a
My-
friend whose
well-
little brother literally learned how to weld, and he just drives around the country in a van with with welding equipment in it, and he gets paid tons of money to weld stuff for
Yeah.
people.
my life depends though on college.
No, yeah, it's not. I'm not saying that college is a bad idea and no one should do it. I'm saying that there's there's other options.
Well,
and college is actually an amazing.
I
option.
actually don't have any other options because with my CF, I have to have health insurance, and that means I have to have a solid job, and I have to
You can get health insurance by being a manager at
Yeah, that's
Target.
the thing. That's where
You don't have to go to college for that.
Sure, but that's not what I want to do.
I'm just
and that's-
saying.
Okay, fair enough.
And some people, I went to college with a lot of people that probably didn't need to be going to college, but they were just there because that's what they were told to do.
I also have to sustain a somewhat money-wise good situation because I do need to eat more food, and I
Yeah.
need to make sure I can pay for all my medical stuff if my insurance doesn't come through. And
Yeah.
And
That's why trade schools are so overlooked. It's because trade schools are usually cheaper, and they give you a job that is almost guaranteed because you usually make money while working at a trade school, and then the job you get after trade school is sure it's not going to be like $200,000, $300,000 a year, but it still is far and above the minimum, like 30,000, 40,000. You're in a range anywhere between 50,000 and probably 100,000. which
So-
is a nice range. And all those jobs do come with a variety of insurances.
And also, just like, I have to be careful where I go because of certain things I can
Yeah.
breathe in, and
Yeah,
And
and,
we're not
that's
saying that-
why trade schools
Yeah.
are not for everybody, because a lot of people physically cannot do that.
yeah, like
So,
CF sucks.
yeah.
Yeah, it does. It sucks a lot. When I was being taught what CF was, people didn't survive to your age with CF.
No.
Like, the first time I heard about cystic fibrosis, it was a childhood, you're going to die pretty soon disease.
Yeah.
So they've made a lot of progress,
Definitely.
and you have options now,
I
which
do.
is exciting, and you can pursue those. But doesn't mean everybody needs to pursue those options.
No. No.
And we're not
Definitely
saying
not.
college is bad. I think doctors should go to college.
Oh yeah, college is very good.
I think lawyers should go to college. Like,
Yeah.
Like I finished college, and while my major might not be the thing I was most passionate about, I'm glad I really would not change a single thing, because if I didn't get a major in computer science, I probably wouldn't have found my job that I have, and then if I hadn't stayed in Missouri, I would have found Ukatsu. So like, there's a lot of things you can look back and see. If I had moved to Seattle, then this would have never happened. So.
Right.
you could have complained about the rain instead of the cold.
That's always the tricky part too about looking back and thinking about what you could do differently, because you don't know where you would be if you did do things differently. If you made a different decision, then instead of being where you are now, you could be in 3 states over. You could be dead.
True.
You don't actually know what would have happened if you look back and change what you could have done.
This is a true statement. So why it's an interesting topic of conversation for me, because
Yeah.
there are definitely things that I would change if I could, but I'm generally pretty happy with where I am in my life.
Yeah.
So
I think that's actually
Is
that
it-
is the
is it
first
worth the
question
risk?
to be asked after would you want to change anything, is are you happy where you are? Because if you are severely unhappy with where you are now, then maybe you wanted to change a few things. But
Yeah.
if you are happy with where you are, then
most of the things that I would change have to do with habits. Like,
Yeah.
I would have, like, in college, I would have cooked lunch more, because I always spent money on campus, like, eating way too expensive food for what it was. Like, I don't need to pay, like, $6 for a sub
yeah,
that's, like, not good,
yeah,
and I ate that, like, every day, you know? Or, I would have continued, like, working out on a regular basis for all of college or something like that. Like little things. Like,
those are the good things.
become more aware of nutrition at a younger age.
That's a huge one that I wish I had worked out more. Whenever I got into working out back, I think it was somewhere at the start of college. I wish I had really stuck with it instead of just stopped. so,
Yeah. Liv, would you still be married to Teddy?
Well, yeah.
the big one.
I was like, are you kidding me?
I mean, I was hoping to get a big scoop here, Have Teddy
No.
learn that you're getting a divorce, like, on this podcast? No?
No, he's amazing.
Liv and Teddy are going to go on a road trip, and they're going to come back in different cars.
I'm kind of concerned about where the second car is going to be coming from, but
It'll be a rent. It'll be a rental.
Hitchhiking?
That'll be a... Did I really want to hitchhike?
Yeah. I had a friend who purposefully hitchhiked from Las Vegas back to Missouri.
it's vagabonds.
He was just like, I want to see if I can do it and if I get killed. Spoiler
think-
alert, he didn't get killed.
You should have YouTubed it. A lot of people are doing that thing. That they're like, we're just going to go somewhere with no laws, and we're going to see if we survive. It's fine. Slab City. I just watched
oh
Mr.
my
Beast.
gosh.
He went there with his friends. They're like, we're just going to go, and I'm just like,
Yeah, I would change that decision. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Hey, vagabonds don't have entirely a bad life. My dad actually, he gave 2 guys, he gave them a ride, and then after giving them a ride, he gave them his phone number for whatever reason, and they called him back because he made some comment about having a van that he wanted to sell, and he ended up hiring them and rooming them, and they did a lot of work for him around the yard, and then he ended up selling his van to them. So, hey, sometimes it can work out.
All right then. That's exciting. I mean, that's where, what's that? Oh, gosh. Never mind. I don't know. Migrant workers from, like, the Dust Bowl in the 30s, Great Depression, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. It's a thing. There's
Something
actually...
that happened a long time ago.
Yeah. There's a book called Vagabonding that's about, like, basically having an online business and just, like, doing work at a place with Wi-Fi and, like, all your belongings are in your backpack.
Grapes of Wrath.
Yeah.
Grapes of-
Ultimate vagabonding.
Yeah.
I've never read that.
Grapes of Wrath is the
an
book
interesting-
about the people I was just talking
Yeah.
about in the 30s.
It's a very interesting
They
book.
were like itinerant farmers that...
They would just travel to find work. Just keep traveling west, or I think.
Yeah.
It's a very slow book.
Hence the turtle.
Hence the turtle.
That's an inside joke between our high school days where there was a good month debate on a turtle.
Spoiler alert, me and Sammons went to high school together.
It's a little late
We were
for that
probably in
spoiler.
the same
Wait, really?
English class at some point.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. You in Buchanan's class?
Yeah.
Yeah, then yeah.
That was a fun class.
Oh, I had to take a detour the last time I was in St. Louis, and I saw a sign for New Melly.
Nice. New Melly. I love New Melly signs because they're always like population 400.
This one was New Melly, 12 miles that way.
Yep. It's one of those tiny little towns you never run across. Like it's hard to find on a map. They're fun. It's fun.
It's on your way to Six Flags.
Not my way to Six Flags.
There's a lot of ways to Six Flags.
I've never been to Six Flags.
It's sticky.
It's very sticky.
That's my 5-star review of Six Flags.
It's sticky.
It's questionable.
I don't
in
know
its
what
safety.
happened. Okay, so I actually went to Six Flags a lot as a kid because my mom sold season passes and she always got them for free. So I went there for a couple years. I went there like 4 or 5 times a year, and I used to go before they had a water park, and it was like, you know, a very clean and like good experience. And then as soon as they put that water park in,
I can see
everything
that.
else just started, like, you know, trash is overflowing in the trash cans, and like asphalt shouldn't be sticky, but it was. And like the ride quality started going down, and I don't know if that was just like me getting older and like seeing the world differently and not
Yeah.
being like, this is a magical land of fun and joy, and then being like, nope, this is trash, or if it was like always trash.
I could
Like-
see it though, because you like even the, like, you just see the contrast. You walk into the normal park, and yes, there is trash, but generally it's a little clean. You go to the water park, and you're like, I have to change in these like dingy stalls that I don't know how many people have touched. And we're gonna go down these slides. Half the time the rides aren't working. We don't know what's going on.
I mean,
You
I don't
there's
know
a-
if you guys have been to Silver City,
I have,
but-
not in a long time.
but Silver City for me is always fun.
Yeah.
It's generally a good roller coaster park.
From what I remember, Six Flags, I've gone to Six Flags and I've had a great time. I remember going back too many times because once you go on a roller coaster, you go there and you're like, 3 rides will do me for 5 years.
Yep.
6 years maybe, and you're like, all right, I don't need to revisit the same
The
theme
Batman
park.
is probably the only one that I would
Yeah.
ride consistently.
Right.
The Ninja just gives you
I get
neck
motion
cramps. The
sickness.
Screaming Angle makes you
Yeah,
want to
don't
die
ride
because
the
of your neck
Ninja.
cramps.
Right.
Or the Batman,
The other
actually.
theme park I went to was Cedar
Any roller
Point.
coaster,
and
I
Cedar
get motion
Point
sickness.
was fire. Cedar
wanna
Point
go
is one
there.
I would revisit several times.
Cedar Point is the country's best rated
Yes.
theme park.
Got the
It is
tallest
quite
roller coaster
amazing.
in North America, at least like the United States.
Is that the?
It's
Is
the
that
one
Yeah,
that
I
drops
went
and
on
it
that
goes
one.
farther than a 90-degree angle
I
down.
think it's called the Dragster, and you go
Yeah,
from
I'm
dead stop
never riding that.
to like 240 miles an hour, and then you go up at really
it's
really
not.
steep
It's not
incline.
made it up before and then come back down.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the Mr. Freeze at Six Flags does that.
I
Dead
do
stop
like
to,
the
super
Freeze.
fast.
It's also the only like air-conditioned one because it's Mr. Free.
Yeah, that's a solid point.
Have you guys been to Disney World and done the Tower of Terror?
Disney
I've never
World.
been to
okay,
Disney World.
Disney World. The best thing
Never?
about Disney World is not the theme parks, unfortunately. Disney World, they do a really good job of like when it turns to nighttime, it turns into
Oh.
a really
Yeah.
actually like a magical world. Like it's actually
Yeah, it
cool.
does.
My parents would not ride roller coasters until I was able to go on roller coasters on my own. We never went on roller coasters. So when we went to Disney World, we didn't go on roller coasters really. We went
See,
Rocket Mountain or whatever the mountain one is. We went on that one.
Space Mountain.
Yeah, that one.
I I went on the Tower Terror a lot as a kid. I thought it was so much fun going up and down and up and down. And then I went back my freshman year of high school, and I went on the Tower Terror, and I almost threw up. Apparently I have horrible motion sickness when it comes to roller coasters.
So Tower of Terror is the one that's like an elevator, and you like
Yeah.
go up, and then they're like opens,
It's
and there's
like
a ghost, and then you drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they actually changed it to I can't remember, but it's same theme, but the theme is based off a Disney movie. I can't remember what it is though.
Okay.
The one thing about roller coasters that always is, it's one of the most like fun parts, but the most terrifying is having to have complete faith in the straps binding you in place. And
See, and when you see like the high school student that's picking his nose running the ride, you're like, I don't have faith that you know what you're doing.
yep, pretty much. It's a dude with like really, really greasy hair and.
Oh, well. Well, I think we've strayed from our topic
Yes.
of the week. Maybe we'll cut
What was
this
the
and put
topic
it.
of the week again?
What would you change about your life?
Oh yeah.
That's what I would have. I would have gone to Six Flags less.
There you go.
I agree. You can
On to
only
Six
ride
Flags.
those rides so many times before you question why you're there.
Yeah. Always liked standing in front of the tidal wave where it just splashes you.
The
So
water
it's, like,
park is
super
a,
hot. You're like, pfft.
water park is worth staying a long time, and that's probably why it's so dingy. Because everyone stays a long time.
The reason also why I would go so much is because there was a season pass, and the season pass costs less than it cost to go 2 times.
So you had to go twice.
Yes.
You had to go 3 times.
No.
Twice?
You had to go twice to pay for the season pass. Because it was like, a ticket was like $40 or something like that, and the season pass was $50. So you had to go twice to make up for the price of the season pass.
Yeah, twice in 1 year is too much.
Yeah. Also, you would go with different friends who hadn't gone, and so by the end of it, you had gone like 3 times with the people who only went once, and you're just like,
Yeah.
I'm done. No more Screaming Eagle, please.
Yeah.
The Highland Fling.
There are some fun ones. The boss is a once in 6 years.
I'm thinking of the boss, not the Screaming Eagle.
Are there funnel cakes at Six Flags?
Oh,
Yes,
yes, there are
there
funnel
are.
cakes everywhere.
There's
Funnel
turkey
cakes are
legs.
amazing.
Funnel
I love
cakes
them.
are one of those things that, like, I always want a funnel cake, and then I take 2 bites of it. I'm like, this is why I don't have a funnel cake every day of my life. I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna die
Funnel
now.
cakes are best eaten with 6 or 7 people because no one person
I-
can eat an entire one.
I could have eaten an
Um,
entire one every day in my
I-
childhood, but these
I
days.
I can easily eat one.
Oh my gosh! But yeah, they
But
also have
afterwards, my stomach's like, "What did you just do?"
See,
Yeah.
the ideal day at Six Flags involves a funnel cake, a fresh-made waffle cone from their ice cream stand, and a Friar Tuck's smoked turkey leg.
Yes.
And also potato chips on a stick.
Potato chips on a stick. I
Yeah,
haven't
so
seen
they
that one.
have
Oh, those are
they,
good, yeah.
they stretch out a potato and
Oh,
then
yeah,
they
yeah.
fry it, and then you get
Nice.
to eat it off of the
There we
stick.
go.
My
again.
mom made potatoes like that when I was growing up. She'd do like the springy, deep-fried potatoes. Those were fun. Anyway, let's get off theme parks.
Yeah.
So, does anybody have any closing thoughts for this episode and a half?
See you guys in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, gonna be gone. Gonna be sitting in a car with Teddy, finding a new car to drive back.
Excited for Spider-Man: Far From Home.
I'm curious to see
Yeah.
what happens to Fortnite.
Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu.
Well, it's been a ride, guys. I don't know how we're gonna fit this into gameplay, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's been real.
Been real.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.